And I was just thinking, and all of that under 20 minutes or half hour. We'll solve the entire Earth problems in 20 minutes or half an hour. Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Good luck with that. Hi, Nicoline.
Hi.
Okay, so I'm so glad you're here for YouTube for bonus content for the book Frequency. We're going to be talking about frequency and human design.
Yes.
And thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome.
And I'm really looking forward to this because as we were kind of talking recently, okay, I don't know if they're going to get this, but we were talking about the Italians and the Germans, or like the gardener and the architect, or the woo woo and the mathematician, right? So there's these two sides that are in balance, and how also you and I have elements of both, and
Yeah.
people have
I
different
wouldn't
sides.
say mathematician. For me, I suck at math. Suck at math. Really.
Okay, well,
So
we'll
I
pick
like
up.
the Italian and the German. That's me.
Okay, okay, but
Yeah.
then not mathematician. Okay, but then the architect, right?
Yeah,
Gardener architect,
definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
because you're very structured and organized, and so yeah, that's a German, to the German
Yeah.
and the Italian.
Yeah.
Okay, so as I just told you this little story, and I'm going to tell it again to kind of set the scene for our talk here about human
Yes.
design and frequency. Okay, and I'm going to make it super short, and we can sort of chop out elements. But okay, it is Tuesday, and just 2 days ago in the morning, I was in Dusseldorf at the Christmas markets. And in the morning, I had to take my car from in front of the hotel to park it to the at the charging station thing. And because I was in front of the hotel, they had given me this big giant, like it was a big piece of paper, right? This is relevant. Big giant piece of paper that was their parking permit. And I had that on the car, and so then I moved the car, and I was supposed to bring back this big piece of paper, and it was in one of those plastic sleeves to keep it from getting wet. So I have the giant permit, and then I go park the car at the charging station, and I could then go back to the hotel and bring the paper back. But in the meantime, I thought, oh, I should go look for a breakfast place in town. Like when my family ever wakes up, then we can, I'm the early bird. So they ever wake up, we can go have breakfast. So I walked around town for probably an hour, all over the place. And it's Christmas markets. There's zillions of people. It's fall. There's leaves everywhere. It's kind of windy. It's blustery. It's beautiful, actually. And then I go back to the hotel. I forgot about the permit. We go to brunch. We go to the Christmas market. And then we're getting to get ready to go. And I go to back to the hotel myself. I go alone because I was going to go get the bags and the car and then pick everybody up. And I go back to the hotel, and the guy says, "Hey, do you have the parking permit?" And I thought, I I blanked. I thought, I don't know where it is. And and one of my first thoughts is money. I'm thinking, oh man, this thing, they're gonna charge me because I lost this thing. And I thought, oh, I said, okay. And I told the guy, I didn't want to seem so, I don't know, like I lost it. So I'm like, I bet it's in the car. So I go to the car, it's not in the car. And then I tried to so my rational or my conscious brain started thinking rationally, okay, let me see, what did I do? And I remember so clearly. I'm very visual. I had a big piece of paper, and I folded it in half for some reason. And then I just dropped it into my big jacket, probably so I wouldn't forget it. But I think what probably happened is as I'm walking around town for an hour, I probably pulled out a glove or a scarf in my big pocket, and I guess I dropped it somewhere.
Mm.
So rational guy in me says I could walk for an entire hour and retrace my steps, which is actually impossible because who knows where I was? I don't know where I was. And maybe, and what are the chances I could find this thing, right? I mean, really, it's a big piece of paper, but it's a big city. There's lots of people. No way. So I just kind of let it go. And I walked about a block. And for some reason, I look down to my left, and in a pile of leaves next to I took a picture of it, by the way, next to a construction site, sort of, it's a big mess. It's all messy. And then under leaves, upside down, was the parking permit. And
Wow.
so at this point, I thought to myself, I could I could be the German and say, well, I retraced my steps and these were my first steps. So this is logical and this is normal that I should find this piece of paper. Or there's the other side where I say, okay, to take it to total extremes, the angels above me have sent me a message and I am blessed. And they sent me to the corner that had my parking permit.
Yeah.
Right. So those two extremes or somewhere in the middle. And of course, I'm going to choose somewhere closer to the angels and the pixie dust, frankly, because I think it's fun over there.
Mm.
So that's my little story.
Yeah.
And this is, I think, a nice jumping off point for people, because I'm sure people have their side. Where are you? Like German, Italian, architect, gardener.
Yeah.
Where are you in this story? And what would you have thought? What would have been your conclusion as to what led me to this parking permit?
Yeah, well, the nice thing is about human design is that it's all about energy and it's all about frequency. And that's what I absolutely love about it, that it's a combination of, I would say, spiritual learnings and quantum physics. So it combines spirituality and science. And that combination makes it really powerful. And I think this was a combination, your example was a combination of science and spirituality. And looking at your design, because I know your design, it totally makes sense because you have an open splenic center in your human design, and spleen is all about intuition. And your intuition is open, which means that you are open to basically other people's intuition, but other situations as well. And you know things without being able to know them. You can see things without logic, actually. And so things just come to you. And that's because your spleen is open in your human design, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to add that. And to look at, when we look at your design, that's very obvious that your splenic center is open. So you just know things without being able to know and without evidence or proof. But the great thing is that you trained yourself, I think, through meditation to listen to your intuition. And perhaps you're not even aware of the entire process of listening to the intuition, but you just follow the gut feeling. So you have a defined sacral center, which is all about the gut feeling, and you have the open splenic center, which is all about the intuition and the intuitive gifts that you have. So those two combined brought you, I think, to this result, that you found it just like that, without it making sense, without logic, but you just knew where to go. And you just went there, and then you found it. So for me, it makes total sense.
Wow. You could think maybe my subconscious knew when it fell out of my pocket.
Yeah.
But my conscious self didn't know that.
Yeah. I think that's what happened. And then because you are such a great meditator, so you know how to practice your mind and to listen to what's going on in your body, and you follow your gut, you follow your gut feeling, and your gut is the subconscious took you there. So I think it was a whole combination. Of course, taking the shortcut to get there, that's like, retracing your steps. But I think it was mainly to really tap into your subconscious. And that's a very well-trained skill in your case, because you do your meditation on a daily. So I think that helped you a lot to connect instantly to your subconscious. That led you to the place where you found the paper.
Okay. So I'm even thinking of myself here. Like I'm thinking of the listener who might think, oh, well, lucky you, Bradley, you're in tune with your intuition, so you found your permit thing. Not to mention, by the way, I take this story, the permit thing, as just a fun example of
Mm,
many, many other things that could happen.
yeah.
And but in holding on to the weird ones, because they're the fun ones, because it's not logical or necessarily. And I didn't
Mm,
plan on it this way. But then that's the whole idea of the openness,
yeah.
right? Being
Yeah.
open to listening and open to the
Yeah. Because
idea.
once you start planning on it, then your head is taking over. It's
Okay.
your then it's a head thing. And it's all of the and that's the practice to stay connected to the gut feeling and the intuition. And I think that is really thanks to your meditation practice
Okay.
that you are able to do that, because for so many people, perhaps we I'm saying deliberately, we, the people who are not that trained in meditation,
Yeah.
that when we get such a hunch, because that's how it feels, you get a hunch like,
Yeah.
oh, perhaps I should walk there, and then your head is always a second and a half later than the gut feeling and the
Mm.
intuition. But then the head says, no, that doesn't make any sense. We didn't go. Oh, yeah, but we could walk around town for an entire hour. That wouldn't make any sense. What are the odds to find it? Da da da.
Yeah.
That's the head
Yeah.
talking. But we always get a hunch. But it's a matter of listening and tuning into it, and that's like the heartbeat, because we are so wired to listen to what's going on in our heads. We are so wired to
Yeah.
do that. And
Yeah.
society is all about rational arguments, logic. It needs to make sense. And I think along the line, we have unlearned how to trust, how to really fully trust that gut feeling, even if it doesn't make any sense. But that is a frequency that we need to tap into, because I think we ignore it a lot. And that's why I love human design, that we have all these amazing skills and tools. We have them. It's
Yeah.
all in our design, and we have them. All we need to do is tap into them and learn how to navigate them. That's all
Oh,
we need to do.
okay. This is a perfect segue into what I see as the two elements of the frequency book. And this is so we're talking about intuition here. And intuition, I kind of see it like the radio signal thing.
Yeah.
I'm tapping into, as you say, like the gut. Okay, Bradley, listen to your gut. Where's the paper? It's
Yeah.
not listen, it's not the German, it's not the map, it's not the rational logical stuff. No, gut. Stop the chatter from the German.
Yeah.
No, it's the listen to the Italian,
Yeah.
listen to the gut who's saying, and it might not sound logical or rational,
Yeah.
but then, okay, go over here, look down to the left. It was such like a guided message. Look down to the left.
Mm.
I was supposed to turn right at that corner. Like the hotel was to the right, but look down to the left.
Yeah.
Why should I look down to the left into a pile of leaves next to the construction site?
Yeah.
So if stop the chatter up here, listen to this chatter. So that's the frequency dial part.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then but the other element of the book is this interval, like how often to do a
Mm.
thing. And
Yeah.
this maybe comes back to the idea of you're saying I'm a practiced meditator. And so I meditate daily.
Yeah.
And so in my opinion, I'm meditating daily. I love the idea of often talk about jogging or running. And so the idea of because I jog every day, because I meditate every day, I'm in shape, so to
Yeah.
speak.
Yeah.
And so and so when I need to tune in to the radio dial,
Yes.
I'd really love to find that piece of paper. Then because I'm in shape, I mean, okay, to continue with the running thing, it's like I need to sprint for 2 kilometers, but it's okay because I run every day, because I'm in
Yeah.
shape, I can do that.
You can do it. Yeah.
So that's my connection to
Yeah.
the daily practice of meditation puts me in
Absolutely.
shape for that unexpected Sunday morning when this chain of events, and I would really love to listen to the
Yeah.
gut as to find the paper.
Yeah. Yeah. But it also has to do when we look at your design, is that you have an open head and an open ashna center, which
Do you want
basically
to, should we show
yeah,
the,
sure. Yeah, sure. If you're okay with
sure,
this,
yeah, yeah. My, we're
let's share your
public,
design.
on
So
public display here.
yeah, so here you are. This is your design. So you are a 2-5 emotional manifesting generator. So here is the open spleen, which is all about the intuition. And you have, I was about to explain that you have an open head and an open ashna, which means that you're open to any idea or inspiration and new concepts and new ways of looking at things. That's in your ashna center. So with your totally open head and open ashna, it's, I would say, easier to tap into new ways of getting somewhere, of finding things, of looking
Okay.
at things. Because if this would have been defined, then it's harder to be really open to that. Because especially when the ashna center is defined, we tend to be a little bit fixed in our thinking of, okay, but
Okay.
this is the way things are supposed to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for you, it's like it's all open. Literally, it's all open. So you really have an open mind to any way that could
Okay.
bring more fun, relaxation, happiness, etc. While other people, especially with a defined ashna, they will be like, yeah, well, I'm sure that doesn't work, or no, we've never done it before like that, so doesn't make any sense. So there are a lot
Okay.
more, I would say, prejudice in there than you are actually having. So in that sense, your design is really helpful to
Yeah.
support you in meditation and to lean towards the more spiritual side of things and
Yeah.
to really have the open intuition that you can just know things or hear things or see things without any logic explanation.
And so me, because you're telling me this and I'm then aware of it, I can use that to my
Yes,
benefit.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the great thing about human design is when you get to know yourself a lot better,
Yeah.
it's all about navigating your design and using your design to your benefits because there is no design that's better or worse than the other.
Right. Right.
Each and every design is just great. All you need to do and to know is how am I wired and how do I operate this thing. It's like, the frequency finder. When you keep turning the wheel and you're like, oh, but I can't seem to receive anything, but now
Yeah.
you know, like, oh, okay, I have an open head and open ashna. Great, let's fine tune on that. Great. So it's
Yeah.
easier, it's getting so much easier, first of all, in the whole, I would say, accepting side of who you are as a person, how you're wired, how you take decisions. So it's a lot about self-acceptance, but it's also about learning how to play with the way you are wired. And when that is happening, then it's magic. It's magic.
Wow.
So I would say it's always about those two steps in human design. First, understanding and accepting, and then second is to work with it, to play with it and have fun with it.
I can see a hurdle for many for that first step, understanding and accepting.
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
this is new or different, or that is what is this is all
absolutely.
Greek to me here, right?
Absolutely. And especially since there is so much information available
Yeah.
about human design, and so many people dive into the details all of a sudden when they see their design, like, oh, yeah, what does that 29 mean? And what does that mean? That symbol, and even though it's interesting, when people are new to human design, the most important thing they need to know about it is that it is an energetic blueprint. It's based on astrology, the Kabbalah, I Ching, Hindu Brahman chakra work, and quantum physics. It is a guideline, basically. You get your own user manual. So that's the great thing to know. And the best thing, when you start out with human design, the most important things that you need to know is your energy type. In your case, you're a manifesting generator. You need to know your strategy, which is, for a manifesting generator, it's waiting to respond and informing before initiating. That's your best strategy. And third is your authority. So that's your decision-making process. And in your case, you're an emotional, you have emotional authority. So if you know these three elements of your human design, you've covered like 75%. But many people really want to understand, and that's a head thing. That's not an energetic thing. That's a logical thing. But it's important that I always tell people when they start with their human design, it's a journey of a lifetime, because it'll take time to digest everything and to actually feel some things. For instance, you have an open root center here. So that's the open root, which means that you may be sensitive to other people's pressure, may be sensitive to other people's deadlines. So it's hard for you, especially when you work with other people, to know when enough is enough. That may be hard for you with an open root center. And it's important, first of all, to start recognizing that pattern. Like, oh yeah, I find that hard. I really struggle with other people's deadlines. Because awareness is the first step. And then you can start dialing up the frequency. Because when you're aware of the fact that you are sensitive to other people's deadlines, then you can work with it. And then you can work on and get your internal frequency higher. Like, okay, I need to be well rested when I have a deadline. I need to make sure that I do things every day so I can meet the deadline. So it's so helpful when you know your human design. Then you can start tuning into it, and really, it's like, I love the idea of the radio receiver. When you really find the frequency of, okay, this is my frequency, and this is how I can dial it up, and I can make sure that I get to a higher frequency. But first of all, you need to know which frequency to start with. So, and that's what human design is bringing you.
I love alliteration, and I go a little crazy with it, but I think last time we talked about the formula.
Yeah.
Formula for frequency.
Yeah.
FFF. And so, because that's what this looks like to me, because we have our frequency, but if you're not aware of what it is, so in totally practical terms, you had told me one time way back when, you said, because as you know me and as others may know me, I have a zillion side projects. And we were talking, and I said, oh, Nicoline, should I stop all my side projects? And you said, no, I need those.
Yeah.
That's a part of my design, a part of my formula, part of my frequency.
Absolutely.
It gives me joy. It makes me happy. They don't need to make money. They don't need to be, award winning. They might just be fun, but I need them. And then sure, okay, maybe I can focus on my big projects more. But it really, really helped me to know I don't have to give those up. That wasn't the answer to, focusing on the big ones or whatever. It was just focus more on the big ones, or I don't know, cut out a few of them. But I wasn't, because I was aware of my frequency formula, then that helped me in very practical ways.
Yeah. And that's a thing, and that's what human design does so beautifully when you know that you're a manifesting generator in your case. And manifesting generators have so much energy, and they need all those side projects to burn off the energy, because then they stay on the right frequency. Because if you would force a
Okay.
manifesting generator to choose to pick just one thing, the frequency goes down.
I can feel it already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the worst thing that you can do for a manifesting generator, to say,
Yeah.
oh yeah, pick one thing. And that's, you know,
Okay.
and that's the thing, especially in business. So many people tell other people like, oh yeah, you should niche and you should pick one thing, you should pick one audience, you should, you know, select just one thing. It's the worst advice you can give to a manifesting
Yeah.
generator.
Yeah. But if you're not aware, if you're not
Exactly.
aware of your
That's the thing.
design or of
Yeah.
your formula,
Yeah.
then
But your frequency will drop. Your energy frequency will drop. And the opposite is true for a projector, for instance. When you tell a projector, because that's what many business coaches tell people to do, connect with at least 10 people a day, grow your audience, connect with 10 people a day.
yeah.
It's for a projector, it's the worst thing to do because it feels unnatural, and
Yeah.
it will drop their energy because it's not in their design, because their strategy for a projector is waiting for the invitation. They don't need to issue an invitation, they need to wait for the invitation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when they get the invitation, then they remain on the right frequency, and they really get into their flow state and their power. But for a projector to invite 10 people a day, that's like pulling teeth. That's awful. It's awful.
Wow.
But for
Yeah.
a manifester, for instance, a manifester could easily do that, because a manifester has that power, has that energy to do that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's so we all need to know our own frequency. And I think that's what I love about human design, that it shows our own frequency. But
I
of
think
course it takes time.
the next level would be then to understand the frequency of your partners or your family or your
Yeah,
colleagues.
Absolutely. So over time, I have done numerous readings with couples, with colleagues, management teams, people who work together, and each and every one of them gives me feedback afterwards, like, oh my God, now I finally understand
Yeah.
why this person is doing X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
You know, just last summer, I coached a couple, and they both wanted their human design. He is a manifestor, she's a generator. He is a manifestor. He doesn't have the same amount of energy that a generator has.
Yeah.
And that was always a thing between them, that he said, oh, I need my bed. And she was like, no, we need so many things to do. And there was always a thing between them. And now they finally get it, like, oh, okay, you're a generator. Go for a run or a swim or whatever. I go to bed.
But that I can just, that's so practically helpful.
It is. It is.
For
Yeah.
couples,
I love making things practical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can feel like the spite and the regret and the frustration. Come on, because creator, extraordinaire, I love creating every single day.
Yeah.
And I think it's a piece of cake. And for me, it's like breakfast.
Yeah.
If I don't have it, then I have less energy.
Yeah.
Even though people think, I'm depleted because I just, created a 10-minute video. I'm like, no, I'm just getting warmed up. That's like, I'm feeling good now. Now I can get started with my day. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's the difference between a manifesting generator and any other energy type.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's really important that we know our own design and we know how we are wired. So we, first of all, understand ourselves, and then we can start understanding others better too. So then we can really adjust the frequency to one another, and then we understand, like, hey, you're on this frequency, you're on this frequency. Great.
You know how visual I am, because now I just saw it. I first had, I need objects. There's my frequency, right? But then is it matched up with whatever, my
Yeah.
life or my job or, all about me, just me
Yeah.
and me and my life and my job or whatever. Okay. Oh, look, hey, I've got that matched up. Okay.
Yeah. You
So
got the
now
synchronicity there. Yeah.
I'm matched up. Now I found my formula for frequency. Yay, me. But
Yeah.
then what you just added was, hold on, hold on. There's like another element. There's, a third, there's another person.
Yeah.
And if that person can match up their formula with their frequency for themselves, and now there's this person, and we
Yeah.
know their waves. And even if we don't match up exactly, at least we know
Exactly.
what the
Exactly.
what the wavelengths are.
And
That
that's,
is just
that's my mission, that I really want people to understand the different waves of frequency. So they don't have to match. They don't have to be identical, because it would be really boring if we would all move on
yeah,
the same
yes,
frequency.
right.
But it's so important that we understand and respect the other's frequency. So we stop blaming people, or we stop accusing people of, especially when you look at projectors, for instance, they are so often accused of being lazy. They are not lazy. They need more rest. It's in their
Yeah,
design.
yeah.
It's in their design. They just
That's so
need
yeah.
more rest. They need more sleep.
Wow. Okay, speaking of energy, I have no idea what time it is. I like but that's just it. Like this conversation gives me energy.
Yeah.
I can talk about this stuff for hours and it's fascinating and it's fulfilling and it provides energy, the conversation we're having right now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. And
that's
you know why?
it's
You
great.
know why that is? Because my design and your design are very compatible. And
Okay.
the great thing about this is that we have 5 centers in common. So you have an open head, an open ajna, and an open splenic center. Same here. You have a defined sacral and a defined solar plexus. Same here. But the other 4 are the exact opposite. And that's
Okay.
why we connect so well. And that's why we can talk like for hours. So I have an undefined throat. You have a defined throat. So I need to wait for your energy in order to speak. Um, I have an undefined G center, which means I have my personality is not, I would say, fixed in that sense that I am the same person every single day and everywhere. So I can be different in different places and different
Yeah.
situations. I have a defined heart center, which is all about willpower and determination. So in that sense, you borrow my willpower and determination, but I
Yeah.
borrow your throat energy and I borrow your sense of purpose and direction, because that's coming from the throat center and the G center. And because it's so compatible, that's why we can talk for hours. So, and it's so interesting when we know this from one another, then it's so much easier to understand why in some cases the connection is like magic, and in
Yeah.
some cases the connection is like bleh.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see there's like the plus and minus of a magnet
Yeah,
that, but there's one that just zoop comes right together. Yay. But then there's the other that no matter what you do, it's not going to
exactly.
connect.
Yeah, exactly. And that's frequency too. And
Yeah.
that's and understanding human design and your own human design to start with. That's definitely going to help to
Yeah.
understand why this is happening and to accept that it's happening and that it's not for you. That person is not for you. Fine. There are many other people in the world.
Wow, Nicoline, I know this is only one chapter of this book, but
Yeah,
and I love challenges, but there's so much more here. There's so much
there
more here.
is.
It's
There
just
is. Definitely. There
it's
is.
just fantastic and
Yeah.
wow. Okay, then I will leave it at that. Of course, I will have information on how to find you because
Yes.
if I didn't know you and were a listener, I would say, okay, I want that. I I want the formula to my frequency.
Yeah.
So I will have contact information for you
Great.
here.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
And And thank you so much for this. And for those who think it's all Greek, because it's a lot of it has been. What do you say in Dutch, by the way? Because in English you say, "Oh, it's all Greek to me." Like,
Um,
is there such a phrase in Dutch?
oh, I have to think about that. I think we use Latin.
Yeah.
It's Latin.
Okay. Oh, funny.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, it's funny. It's all Greek. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we say it's all Latin.
Like there's the fun, like in English you say, "I have a frog in my throat."
Yeah.
But I think the French, is
Well,
it a
it's the same
cat?
in Dutch. It's the same in
Oh,
Dutch.
it's frog. Okay.
Frog is yeah, yeah. It's definitely a frog in the throat.
Okay. Um, well, for any of those, for anybody who thought that was all Greek or Latin,
Yeah,
then Nicoline can help with the translation.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So don't
Right.
get lost in translation.
Oh, thank you so much. This has
You're
been a
so
joy,
welcome.
and I look forward to talking more about it soon.
Absolutely.
Great. Thanks.
Let's do
Bye
that.
for now.
All right. Bye.